Alright, welcome to Chapter 11, Adding Effects. Now, before we start, there were some big changes between version 3 and version 5 to the way sprites are handled. And now, like when you bring in a sprite sheet, so I'll do items, the entire sheet comes in, but it's pre-sliced for you. So you can't really grab one of these sprites and change the texture of it. I can grab the sprite sheet, and I can change the texture of the sprite sheet to make it a texture rather than a sprite, which is what the instructions of our chapter this week call for. But that changes all the sprites on the sheet to one giant texture, so basically all you just start seeing is a bunch of sheets jumping around, and that's not what we want. So for this week, we got to do something a little bit different. So I made a picture for you, and if you go to piskelapp.com, let me show you real quick. So here I am. It's Piskel, Piskelapp, if you can't read that, .com, and just hit create a sprite. Basically, you can just make whatever sprite that you want. So we had to make a star, so I made a really crappy star, and I'll show you my really crappy star. So there's my really crappy star. Hooray! So it does look a whole lot of star, but because it's so small, it's good enough. And again, I only spent 3 seconds on that, so it's as good as it's gonna. All right, so the first thing I'm going to have you do, and again, my star JPEG will be loaded. You can create a new folder. I called mine test texture. So just go somewhere in the assets, go to asset, right click, new folder, create the new folder, and then when you go to the new folder, right click and do import new asset, and then pick the crappy star. And then that'll give you the nice crappy star. Now, once you've got that imported, change it to texture and then hit apply. And then it becomes a texture. A sprite, when added to the renderer, you see the entire sprite. So we would see a bunch of stuff like this. So if I were to create a particle system and then add the star, you see, so that obviously looks bad. So what you want to apply a texture. So if I go back and put the crappy star on there, now I get my crappy stars. And that's where we're going to focus on today. Alright, the particle system in Unity is called the Shuriken particle system. And it gets that because if you grab it, so hit Game Object, Particle System, and there's your new particle system. I'm going to move it over here. So obviously they're like little tiny shurikens all coming out. And that's the default behavior, is that right there. So I'm guessing that's where it got the name. Now once you add a particle system, there's a whole bunch of different options. So if I click on this, I get more options. If I click on Force over Lifetime, I get more options. So make sure you read the chapter this week and get familiar with all these different options and what they do. So your book kind of covers them all. Now, page 216 says create a particle system, and then but doesn't say anything else. And then as you go on, it talks about all the different settings in the particle system. Then on page 220 it says create another particle system, but it just says create a particle system. So now you would have two. So skip page 216 where it says create a particle system. Just skip those two steps. Make sure you read 217, 218, 219 so you understand what everything does. And then we'll start on the instructions on page 220. All right. So if you haven't already create the particle system, then it says give it a something we can identify it with. And I don't know why mine's going so slow. Come on, there it goes. And it says use the purple diamond. Hooray! All right, and it says name the game object particle coin box. So particle underscore coin box. And there we have it. Alright, so now we start on the instructions on the bottom of 220. So duration, you want to set that to 1. So set that to 1. Looping. Now when we're done, we're going to turn looping off. But if we turn looping off now, it'll only run once, and then it stops. So we want to continue to see it to make sure that it's the right effect. So we're going to leave looping on now, and we're going to turn it off when it's all finished. Alright, start lifetime. They want 0.25. Start speed, they want to leave it 5. Start size, they want 0.4. I'm going to move this up here so you guys can all see it. Alright, start color, here's where you start the color. We want something in yellow. So now I got a bunch of weird yellow stuff. And then gravity multiplier set to 1. Now again, once this is all done, if you don't like it, you're free to change the settings. Alright, simulation space set to world. And play on awake is checked. And max particles to 10. So that just means the maximum number of particles on the screen can only be 10. Now, under emission, we want a curve, so we're going to set the rate to 0. And then burst, you have to click the little plus sign. They want you to set the burst to 0, 0 with a count of 10. So what's going to happen is it's going to burst, and we're going to see 10 little things pop up. So we don't want them at a steady rate, we just want a one-time burst. Yeah. Alright. Then move on to shape. Shape, they want us to change this to hemisphere. Make sure your hemisphere is coming up. And the radius, they want you to set to 0.5. Bloop. Nice. Alright. And then go to size over lifetime. And now they want you to do a curve. So if you just click here in the gray, or I'm sorry, the little, come on. Oh, duh. You have to turn it on first. And then click. And now you'll see all these different curves you can apply. So we want it to start big and then become smaller. So we're going to grab that curve. So it's the very last curve. And you can kind of see, what's going on there. And if you don't like that, you're always free to grab that curve and do different things with it to see what happens. So we can make a bigger little explosion, or we can make a smaller explosion. So we'll leave it like the book says. Alright, now I'm over on page 220, and they want us to go to the renderer. And they want cast shadows set to false, or turned off. And receive shadows, they want that turned off. Because you don't want shadows from these different effects. Now, then we get instructions on 222 that say go to the sprite folder, grab the star sprite, and set the star's texture type. And that's what you can't do. If I go to sprites, items, and I find the star, I can't set the texture. The texture is set for the entire sheet. So what we're going to do is you're going to go to that thing that you made, or I'm sorry, go to the particle box. And you should have already, make sure renderer is displayed, and it's all the way down here. You should have already changed the crappy star to a type of material. And then that should have started this. So we're going to go to our crappy star, and we're going to drag it here to, oh, why is it not dragging? What's up? Oh, I see. Now remember, inside the material that where you download that, right, it's still a sprite. Or there's a material folder where your actual texture became. So depending on where that went, I thought it went to materials, but if you don't see crappy star there, there was a little plus sign underneath my test texture. Sorry about that, guys. And then grab the crappy star. And now under renderer, we want to put crappy star under default particle. And now you see we get little stars that kind of come out. Now you're free to have anything else pop up if you didn't want stars. You're free to make them bigger, smaller, whatever you want to do. You can even leave the dots, like if I go here and put the default particle effect on, take this off, it's still kind of small, that's still good enough. But if you want to, put the stars on there, and you kind of see the stars at first, how they kind of pop up and then go away. And again, you can change the time, whatever you want to do, if you want the stars to display on the screen longer, or however you want to do it. Remember, it's all up to you. Just when somebody hits a coin box in your final project, I expect to see some kind of effect like this. Doesn't have to be stars, but whatever it is. Alright, now at this point, they tell you to assign that to the coin box. So I'm going to grab this coin box here, which I think is coin box final for me. So that's my coin box final. So remember, in my prefab folder, box coin, I've got the box coin, then I have box coin 1 that we worked on, and then I have box coin final, then I have the other little pieces that kind of went in that. So this is actually box coin final. So I don't want it like that. What I need to do is I need to expand it and go to the disabled box coin, and then I need to grab my particle effect. Let me drag this up here. And remember, you want to put it between screens, and then go up higher. And you want to assign it to box coin disabled and let go. So now our particle effect will be when the box coin turns to disabled. So if I hit play and I hit this, oh, I got the thing over here. So I obviously need to move the particle effect of the box. So let me move that now. Now, did I miss that? Oh, I guess it says no. Well, it just says to the different stuff on step 2 of 223. So I'm going to leave it right there. Then I'm going to see what happens. Yeah, and then you see the little stars pop up. Alright, so now obviously I want to turn the loop off. Then I'm going to go back, because I don't want to obviously to keep popping. Boop. Nice. So now we're all set. We've got a cool little effect. So now what you're going to want to do is take that box coin final and you want to drag it to your prefab and save it there. And then you want to get rid of all the other boxes that you have in your screen and replace them with that new coin final. So that'll be final 1. Now you can always delete this final and then rename this to final or whatever you want to do. I can rename it to final A, save it like that. So this should theoretically be the last time we do this to the prefab. Now, we're going to load sounds later on, so I don't know if we're going to add a sound to that too. So if we do, then we'll change the prefab again. But that's what you want to do. Alright, I'm going to go to screen 2 and find my coin boxes, and I have these four coin boxes here, and I'm going to delete those. And then I'm going to grab the final coin box, edit, snap settings, snap it to grid, final coin box, snap, final coin box, snap, final coin box, snap. Alright, and then I'm going to grab those 4 coin boxes I just added, and I'm going to move those to screen 2. So they're all nice and neat. And now, if I hit play, I should see Ray Effects! Ray Effects! So now everything's working. So now if I want to put other coin boxes on, I'm all set with that. Alright, once you got that working, make sure you save your scene. So File, Save Scene, File, Save Project. Now, for me, just to be safe, I'm going to make a copy of this and then start a new video for the other thing, because I want to try something new this time. I want to split the video up into a couple different sections, and that way you can kind of like watch the coin box one, do that, then you can watch the damage one, and then do that, and then you later on when you got time you can do the sound effects and do that. So, I'll see you in the next video. Alright, let's add effects to our player. So, this part of the video, I'm on page 223, about the halfway mark, where it says creating a particle effect for damage. So, we want to create a new game object, particle system. So, remember, your computer says game object and then create other, but we don't have to do that anymore. It's just game object particle system. Alright, then it says a little purple diamond. We're all set there. Name the object particle hit left. Particle underscore hit and then capital left. Make sure you get the name correct because we're going to do a script for this one. So particle hit left looks good. Alright, drag particle hit left game object under the player game object. So we need to grab that and it's going to go under player. Alright, name the game object. Wait a minute. Is it just me, or step 3 and step 5 the exact same thing? Name the game object, particle hit left. Crackheads, I'll tell you. Alright, set the transform position to 0, 4, 0. Alright, at this part I don't necessarily think we're going to need to do. This one was 0.4, and that one was 0. Oh, I guess they want it there, but that's like right on the guy. And then set the transform rotation. Minus, minus 65, and then the Y minus 90, and then 0. Oh, so they want like I guess the particles on to go to the left side is what they're looking for. Alright, and then drag the star texture into the particle system. So go to renderer, expand that, go to where that material was, and slap it there. Ooh, that's way too big. We're going to have to make those a lot smaller. So, it just looks ridiculous. Alright, so go back up here to the top, and where it says start size, and change start size to 0.3, and that looks much more better. Alright, turn the page to 224, and now we're going to do all the different settings. So the duration, they want this at 1. We're going to turn the loop off eventually. Start lifetime is going to be 1. Start speed, select random between 2 constraints. Speed. Hit the drop down box. You want random between 2 constants and a range of 8 to 12. So 8. Holy crap. Oh, that's size. Duh. Alright, why do you guys let me do stupid stuff? Start speed. Random between 2 constants, and they want 8 and 12. Now, start size, we're going to leave it where I had it, 0.3. Start rotation here between 2 constants, and then 0 to 90. Alright, 0 and 90. Woo, they're flying off of that sucker. Alright, gravity multiplier set to 2.5. Simulation space set to world. Play on awake set to false. Max particles set to 3. So now only 3 particles will come on that side. So if I get hit on the left, the stars come to the left, and then later on we'll change this, and if I get hit to the right, the stars will go on the right. Alright, then under emission, set rate to 0, and go to burst, and add a new one, and 0, and set particles to 3. And then close emission, and then go to shape. Now shape should already be cone. Set the angle to 15. Set the radius to 0.1, and we're good. Alright, then they want us to go over to color over lifetime and click on that so we have the color. And they want us to change it so that it goes between 2 different things. Let's see, I believe that's between 2 gradients. And then the first one, we need to find the color. Set the starting color of the gradient to white, which is what it is, and then go to here, the second color, and then end it at red. Alright. Oh, that's kind of cool. Alright, then we're going to go to size over lifetime. Turn that on. And like the stars from coin boxes, we'll have these stars a bit larger as they go. I'm just going to leave mine there. You can set yours if you want to, and do between 2 curves, and set the different sizes. I guess I could do it to go from 0.1 to 0.3. Yeah, that's kind of too small. About 0.5 to 0.9. I guess I'll just leave it there. Again, once you find something that works for you, that's fine. As long as when he takes damage, something indicates the damage. Alright, and then rotation over lifetime. Turn that one on. And so alright, so this one they want to set to a curve. And then they want us to start I'm kind of watching the stars here to see what the different settings do. I guess I'll set with that. So again, whatever you want to set these things on, that's fine as long as he shows damage. Alright, then go to the renderer And from the renderer, we want to turn shadows off and uncheck that. Alright, then now that we're all done and we're happy with the way this goes, we want to grab it, we want to do a Control D, and then we want to rename that particle hit right. So capital R-I-G-H-T. So now we have particle hit left and particle hit right. Alright, then they tell us to change the transform on particle hit right, so make sure particle hit right is selected, and go to x equals 295. I don't think that's going to be right. No. Ah, I'm all funked up now. Look out. I'm going to change the tag for that one to the blue diamond so I know where particle hit right is. Oh, and I'm going to quit being a noob, and I'm going to go to the rotation where they're talking about. So the rotation and do 295. And then Y is going to be 90. And those will shoot out to the right side. And 0. Alright, so I got particle hit left. And I got particle hit right. So I'm all good. So either stars are coming out to the right or stars are coming out to the left. Alright, now they want us to add some code. So let's go to our script. And we're going to change the player stats. I'm going to open that sucker up. And then I'm going to make the changes, and I'll be right back as soon as this loads. Come on. Good. Alright, so here's what it should look like now. So you want to add these two different variables. Now, when you're scripting, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're trying to track the progress of something, hey, I want to know when the player hits the bad guy so I can do damage, then you have to go by the tag. So you have to create tags to make sure that everything, so you know when the player hits something. But if you're just trying to attach something, or in this case, hey, I want to make this happen, then we're going to make variables, and then we're going to go to the script itself in the inspector, and we're going to add those to our different game objects. So I'll show you what I'm talking about if I just totally lost you there. So we want to add those first two. Then we want to go down here to player reaction and skip these two because those should have already been there. And then I just moved that up, and then this was all the new stuff they wanted added. And then we're good. So make sure you save that. Now, if you do it right away, you'll get this issue, the null reference. You'll see some error like that. And that's totally okay. First, we want to go to our two particle hits and turn off the loop so they don't keep playing. Then we want to go to player, and now if we go scroll down to the script, the player stats, we see it's got two other variables we need to fill in, particle hit left and particle hit right. So grab, should not have clicked on that. You want to go here and just drag that to hit left and drag this to hit right. And now, theoretically, I should be able to clear this, and then everything should work. So I'm not seeing any errors. That's good. And if I get hit, I should see some stars come out. Some stars came out. Got hit again. Stars went out the other. It looks like they're coming out the opposite way, though. And there I got hit on the right, and there I got hit, and they still went to the right. So there's something wrong on that hit left thing, because obviously my stuff was getting hit on the right too much. Let me try that again, just to be sure. Boop, yep, went to the right, and went to the right again. Right, 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 well. Alright, so we got some kind of issue there with the hit left. Oh, I'm sorry about that. I assumed it was when I got hit. But after reading the rest of page 227, it's the way I'm facing. So if I get hit facing this way, the stuff goes that way. And if I face that way, the stuff... So if I'm facing right, the stuff goes left. And if I'm facing left, the stuff goes right. So it looks like everything's working as planned. Yay! So we're all good. Alright, so at that point, that's all they do for the particle system. But again, I put two videos in there. One was like a flame, and one is a like a mid-air explosion. Obviously, the mid-air explosion wouldn't fit the game, but you could always put a flame, across here, or maybe make a little fire pit with it, whatever you want to do. So screw around with the particle effects. Remember, the last week I don't think you had anything to do, so you should be caught up. So you should have a little bit of extra time to kind of get some things in the game if you want to. Now, I also linked this site in your materials folder. I think there's something where it has the link underneath. So it's just textures.com. You want to create a free account here, and then I think you get 15 free credits either a day or a week or a month, something like that. But like I can go to fire and flames, and I can download any texture that here that's listed. So I can click on that one, which looks kind of cool, and they'll tell you like how many credits it is based on the size. Now with our game, we just want the smaller one, so they're only 1 credit each. And then once you download that, you can make it a texture, pop it on your stuff, and you're all set. And I linked a video on there where he actually uses not that necessarily flame, but he does the same thing, and he makes the flame thing that we talked about. So again, that's not required. If you feel like playing around, that's great. If not, that's fine. So under materials, you'll see the video for the fire flame effect, and there's the link, at textures.com. In the video, he says cztextures.com, but the website name got changed. So again, you can check that, and it's only like 7 minutes, so it's a kind of a neat effect that you can do. And there's an air explosion. Now this one's a little bit longer. I want to say it's like 20-something minutes for the video, but it's a really cool effect that you can kind of pop in the game. So again, check YouTube out. Lots of different videos on neat little effects you can do, and once you learn how to do an effect, you're kind of good with it. Alright, and then in the next video, we're going to add some sound effects to different actions that the player takes, when the player jumps, when he walks, when he takes damage, and then that'll kind of wrap up this chapter. So, see you in the next video.